It's a very warm welcome and thank you for joining us on this independent off-tube studio commentary. The game at the Emirates between Arsenal and Brentford has just got underway. Our referee Peter Banks starting off proceedings here, and the game is underway with a ball played back to David Raya. Pumps it along all the way to the edge of the Arsenal penalty area. Easily headed away though by William Saliba. Brentford trying to keep the pressure on with a long ball up towards Ivan Toney now at the edge of the area, but there is Saliba again, just making sure that's marshalled out for a goal kick. So we are underway here between Arsenal and Brentford. A big game for both sides. Brentford enjoying their longest unbeaten run in the league for a long time. Last time they lost was away at Villa back in October. Arsenal, on the other hand, have had two 1-0 defeats in their last two games. That's a 1-0 reverse away to Man City in the FA Cup, and then that surprising defeat away at Goodison against Everton last weekend. So potentially the Gunners a bit of a wounded animal today against the Brentford side, who are trying to press from the very first moment just to try and frustrate Mikel Arteta's side. And Arsenal now finally able to bring the ball out, and here they go now down the right-hand side with Ben White. He's got support here from Bukayo Saka, being closed down there by Christian Norgard back towards the halfway line. So it's myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz, and Ben Rogers taking you through the action. Ben, this is a game that Arsenal need to win, bearing in mind they have just lost their last two, and it's Man City to come next. Yeah, it's a massive game for Mikel Arteta's Reds, Paul, and when you look at it, it's a real tough task that they're facing. The Brentford side that you've mentioned, the form they're in, 9 league games unbeaten now, 4 clean sheets in their last 5 games. Their defence has just been absolutely brilliant since the turn of the year. They're one of the most informed teams in the Premier League, along with Nottingham Forest and Brighton. It's going to be a real tough task for Mikel Arteta's side. And as you said, not scored in their last 2 games. Guess Man City away, you didn't really expect them to score, but Goodison Park, they had chances, didn't take them. It's a big opportunity today for Brentford to take some points off the league leaders. Well, they'll certainly fancy their chances, but here come Arsenal now with the ball into the box, and just a little bit of miscommunication there. It's Nketiah. He was looking for support from his teammate there. It was Martinelli just stood on the left-hand side at the edge of the penalty area. Martinelli didn't follow Nketiah into the box, and the ball is away for a goal kick. Just to remind you very quickly for the 2-11s, it's Aaron Ramsdale in goal for Arsenal. A back 4 of Ben White, William Saliba, Gabriel and Oleg Zinchenko. The 3 in midfield are Martin Odegaard, Thomas Partey and Granit Xhaka, with Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Martinelli and Eddie Nketiah as the front 3. For Brentford is David Raya in goal. A back 3 of Christopher Ajer, Ethan Pinnock and Ben Mee. Mads Rosleff and Rico Henry are the 2 wide men, with Vitaly Janelt, Christian Norgard and Matthias Jensen as the midfield 3, with Ivan Toney and Brian Mbeumo as the 2 up front. The ball is now back at the edge of the Arsenal penalty area. Ramsdale already got 3 Brentford players in the box for company, but he's able to get that ball away towards Thomas Partey. And Arsenal don't panic, they just go out towards the left-hand side, and Zinchenko can bring the ball forward now over the halfway line. Looked up, but Brentford, as you can expect, they're going to play quite a high offside line here today, because they don't want to give the likes of Saka and Nketiah too much space to run into. But here's a chance now as Ben White tries to feed the ball down the right-hand side. He does find Nketiah, who is onside. Back to Saka, back to Odegaard, who tries to hit it first time with the left foot. He is charged down. Ball still alive here down the right-hand side. Nketiah with the cross this time. Ben Mee with the header. It still drops inside the penalty area. In fact, Ben Mee was fouled in the box by Granit Xhaka, says our referee Peter Banks. Xhaka very animated in his protest about that, but the referee made his mind up fairly quickly that the Swiss international had fouled Christopher Ajer, who was actually jumping for them. I mean, there's hardly any contact there at all, and I mean, nothing happened from the move anyway, but that was a bit of a harsh decision against Xhaka, I thought. You can always tell by the players' reactions whether or not it is a free kick, and he was so animated, as you said, and he was fuming with Peter Banks that he'd given the decision against him. But a lot of the time you will see that in the penalty area. If there's the slightest bit of contact, the defender feels it, he'll go over and the referee will side with the defender. But that's a really nice, intelligent run from Eddie Nketiah, isn't it? Down that flank there, he peeled off the back of Ethan Pinnock. Pinnock followed him, but Ben White's ball was absolutely perfectly weighted. Eddie Nketiah done well to bring Saka into play, and promising signs early on for the Gunners. Certainly wanted to try and use that again as a ball down the middle. This time is to no one in particular. Ben Mee can pick the ball up now for Brentford, and Pinnock rolling it back towards David Raya. As well as this game is Palace, Brighton, Fulham against Nottingham Forest, Leicester, Spurs and Southampton against Wolves. Any goals going in those, we'll let you know straight away. In the early game, it finished West Ham 1, Chelsea 1. Not quite sure how it finished 1-1 in that game, because Chelsea absolutely ran the show in the first half an hour of that game. Had 2 goals disallowed for offside, but West Ham just came good in the second half and were frustrating Chelsea towards the end of the game. Back here at the Emirates, though, it's Brentford in possession with Norgard volleying a ball down the right-hand side, and then Toney has a bit of space to put an early ball in. It's a great chance, and that's a good save from Aaron Ramsdale. It's away for a goal kick in the end. In fact, it may have been Ramsdale's body just getting in the way of Rico Henry. It looks as though the Brentford left-back got the final touch on that, but just a simple overlapping ball, and Arsenal were caught out.
I'm not quite sure how she stayed up, Paul. It's an absolutely fabulous ball from Ivan Toney. It's Rico Henry. He's got a score. We look at the replay again. We thought it was an Aaron Ramsdale save, but Henry just got his angles all wrong, isn't he? He's coming flying into the ball. He's coming with some pace, and he's just not connected at all how he would have liked. He had an empty net to tap into. Ramsdale was stretching. He was never going to get there. And Rico Henry just put it back out for an Arsenal goal kick, almost out for a throw, and it's an awful opportunity. What a chance for Brentford, but promising signs for Thomas Frank's side. It was so easy for them to cut open the Arsenal defence.
It was easy, and really and truthfully, if Henry had, if he was going to do that, he could have left it, because Mbeumo was still on his feet, stood just behind him. He may have been able to deal with that ball a little bit better, but a ball towards the edge of the Arsenal penalty area is now nodded out by William Saliba. And a throw on to Brentford here down the left-hand side, and it's their long throw specialist, Matthias Jensen, who is across to take this one. Brentford actually in their change sky blue kit today. They've been wearing their sort of black kit with the coloured squares on it for most of their away games, but I think most Brentford fans do prefer this this change strip, the light blue, and not to an away kit they had back in the 80s. And Jensen now standing here with this long throw. He's going to try and launch it towards the edge of the 6-yard box, which he does. It's a lot of height on that one. It's headed on by Christopher Ayer, then nodded away by Xhaka, but it's still floating around at the edge of the area. Janelt wins that one back for Brentford, and the Bees keep possession, albeit they have to go back to Raya, who's wandered a long way out from his penalty area, and he pumps this ball long towards the edge of the Arsenal penalty area. Headed up in the air there by Gabriel. Now Martinelli going back towards Zinchenko. He goes square to Ramsdale, who has got enough time here to just easily play a ball out towards Ben White, who's off down the right-hand side. Finds Bukayo Saka, being closed down there by Rico Henry, but Saka turns him quite easily and then spots a run down the right-hand side, exactly where Henry's just come from. And this is Ben White getting towards the edge of the area, finds Martin Odegaard. Odegaard switching play over towards the left-hand side now, taken down by Martinelli. He had an overlap, the ball is cleared. After that pass was picked up by Mads Roslev. Cleared back towards the halfway line. Gabriel now finding Xhaka. And White over towards the right-hand side here for Odegaard. He plays a lovely ball into the box. It's a tight angle, and Raya has to close that one down. Martinelli, well, he was pretty much on the line. There wasn't too much more he can do than force a corner kick there, really. And that's exactly what he's got.
It's that same run that Eddie Nketiah made earlier on, isn't it? This time it's Martin Odegaard that finds Gabriel Martinelli. He just goes in behind Norgard and Pinnock, and they're not talking to each other. And Martinelli's got, as you say, the tight angle to try and beat David Raya, but Raya, the Spaniard there, does really well to close the angles, but Arsenal have a corner, and that little avenue for Arsenal down that right side, in between the left wing-back and the left centre-back of Brentford, is causing a few problems early on.
It is. That's something Brentford have to watch. I mean, Henry on that previous occasion had actually followed Nketiah up towards the halfway line to try and win the ball back for Brentford, and in doing that, he left that side open. That's how Arsenal were able to start that move on their right. But here is Bukayo Saka now waiting to take this corner kick. He's got players to aim for inside the penalty area. It's a left-footed in-swinger towards the near post. Pinnock heads it away, and then Zinchenko fires that one towards goal. In an ideal world, the Ukrainian international would have that on his left foot, really, because he skies that one a long way over the bar.
He's not a player that scores many goals, Alexander Zinchenko, and you can tell it from that finish there. It's not a bad ball in from Bukayo Saka. Thomas Partey just got a slight flick, then Pinnock headed it away well. Zinchenko had a bit of space in the edge of the box, but he's got his technique all wrong. Knee was absolutely out of position, nowhere near over the ball, and he scuffs his shot, slices it into the back of the Emirates Stadium crowd. But it's been quite a lively start to this game, Paul.
It has. I think we were both thinking that it could be quite a lively start. Arsenal certainly aren't going to be afraid to get forward, and Brentford know that if they sit back and just allow Arsenal to get forward, they're going to get caught out sooner or later. So they have to try and match the Gunners. But Arsenal just trying to go through the gears now as Odegaard finds a good ball down the right-hand side for Bukayo Saka. Gets to the edge of the area. He's got Jensen for company. Jensen just does enough to dispossess Saka, and then Ben Mee completes the job, clearing the ball up towards the halfway line where Saliba heads it across. Very nearly picked up there by Bryan Mbeumo, but Thomas Partey is there just to calm things down for Arsenal. And now Xhaka finding Zinchenko down the left-hand side. 9 minutes gone, independent off-tube studio commentary. It is goalless between Arsenal and Brentford, and it's Arsenal in possession now with Partey square to Ben White, about 30 yards out from goal, in towards Odegaard. Trying to get away from Ben Mee, who's followed him out from the penalty area. Odegaard switching now over towards the left for Zinchenko. He's got Martinelli there with him as well. Roslev trying to close him down. Back to Zinchenko. Brentford camped at the edge of their own penalty area right now as Arsenal try and push forward. Zinchenko square to Partey. He clips the ball back to Oleg Zinchenko. Players to aim for inside the penalty area. He takes a touch. I thought he might have hit it in first time there. He's been closed down now by Roslev, trying to turn away from the Dane, playing it back in towards Gabriel. And now it's with Thomas Partey again. He's about 40 yards out from goal. Square to Ben White. Space now for Saka down the right-hand side. Puts it onto his left foot. It's a decent ball in, but it's also a good header away by Pinnock. Drops to Partey. He finds Zinchenko down the left-hand side. Trying to get away from Roslev. Mbeumo gets a foot on that, but can't do much more to get Brentford back into possession. Here come Arsenal now with Martinelli at the edge of the area. Strike, which gets a big deflection, which takes all the sting out of it. And then it just flares up and bounces in front of David Raya. But that's certainly the best bit of sustained pressure from Arsenal, albeit they never really got a shot away from goal.
Yeah, it was good movement, but is it between Zinchenko and Martinelli on that left-hand side there? And Zinchenko on the ball, he looks dangerous, doesn't he? He wants to get involved, and that's how Mikel Arteta wants his full-back to be playing. There, so we just break off here.
Well, there's a chance here now as the ball goes over the top. There's going to be a free kick given, though. The referee decided that there was a foul as Brentford went forward. The Brentford players are not happy with this. And I think it doesn't even matter whether VAR gets involved. If Peter Banks stopped play long before the goal was scored, and that's it. But is there a foul here from Ivan Toney on Saliba? Or is there a foul from Mbeumo on... well, I don't think there was a foul on either Arsenal defender there. We'll break off from that because Arsenal have gone up the other end now with a chance for Nketiah. He breaks into the box, but it's picked up by David Raya. But I'm still not sure why that previous Brentford move was stopped there.
End-to-end stuff here, Paul. But yeah, we'll just look back at that original one with Brian Mbeumo and Gabriel, and there's a little slight hand from Mbeumo on Gabriel's shoulder, but when we look at the replay of it again, Gabriel's already going over, isn't he? I'm not sure it's quite given on the Toney jump. I think he's given it for the Mbeumo foul on Gabriel, but Gabriel seems to be slipping over already, but there's a slight touch from Mbeumo. Gabriel's already going over, though, so I think he can feel really hard done by there, Brentford. And Mbeumo, as you say, was in on goal, and the Arsenal defenders there, both centre-halves,
I just wonder if that had been the other way round, if the Arsenal defender's jumping over the Brentford man and he gets that little touch on it. Well, there's a tiny shirt pull there from Mbeumo as well, but it's... I don't know. It's touch and go, that one. I always think in those situations the attacking team wouldn't get an attacking free kick at the edge of the box for a similar sort of foul there. But certainly there probably was just about enough evidence there from the referee's point of view to say that there was some sort of infringement. But these are all little warning signs for Arsenal as well, that Brentford, any kind of loose ball, they're going to try and pounce on it.
There's been a couple of warning signs already for Arsenal that when Brentford go forward, they're going to cause them some problems. But you mentioned it there, and I think I mentioned it earlier in the game with that the Xhaka the foul on Ethan Pinnock, that the defensive side will always get the benefit of doubt in the box in situations like that because the controversy that would surround it if that goal was to go in. But I'm inclined to agree with you there, Paul. I don't think it was a foul, if I'm being honest, but Arsenal have got away with one there.
They have a long clearance from Raya, headed on by Roslev, but no one in a sky blue Brentford shirt to pick that up in midfield. Arsenal now back in possession. Odegaard back to Gabriel. Toney beckoning his teammates to come up and press as Arsenal try and play out from the back here. Ramsdale hurries his ball out towards the left, but it does find Zinchenko. First time ball to find Martinelli. And Arsenal, even when under a bit of pressure, still make it look very easy to play out from the back. And here's Odegaard now heading towards the edge of the area. The pass is behind Saka, but White may still get there. No, he won't. And just that run across there from Rico Henry is enough to put off the Arsenal man. So it's been a very bright start here at the Emirates. 13 minutes gone. It is goalless between Arsenal and Brentford. But Brentford have had a couple of really good chances. There was a chance for Rico Henry as the ball was played in from the right-hand side. He got his shot completely wrong, and then Mbeumo actually had the ball in the net, but it was disallowed for a slight foul in the build-up. At the other end, Arsenal have had their chances as well. There was a chance for Zinchenko, but he skied his shot over the bar. Martinelli from a tight angle, forcing a save from David Ryan. There's been plenty of pressure from the Gunners in and around the Brentford penalty area as well. It's been a bright start here, but it is goalless.
We've got a first goal in the 3 o'clock kickoff this afternoon as well. It's Tottenham that have got it at the King Power Stadium. They lead Leicester by a goal to nil. Rodrigo Bentancur with a goal early there for Antonio Conte's side, as still goalless at the Emirates Stadium in the game that you're currently listening to on this coverage. It's Arsenal 0, Brentford 0. It's been a lively start to this game, as me and Paul have already spoken about for the majority of this half. Plenty of chances at both ends, and Rico Henry all probably should think that Brentford should be ahead after his opportunity he had earlier on, as Arsenal come forward here with their captain Martin Odegaard. Finds Thomas Partey. Partey with a beautiful switch of play out to Gabriel Martinelli. Martinelli cuts inside onto his right foot, beats Roslev, plays a nice 1-2 with Xhaka. Martinelli plays a square ball across to Partey. Partey finds Ben White on the right hand side here for Arsenal. White thinks about a cross, doesn't do it, finds Martinelli to his feet. Martinelli back to Partey. It's patient play for the Gunners here. Xhaka with a left-footed ball in just behind Nketiah, but it wasn't a bad ball. It's cleared away well by Ethan Pinnock, but Arsenal just, the passage of play at the moment, it's improving from the Gunners, isn't it? Just starting to slowly turn the screw.
It's starting to get into that sort of mode that I was expecting for most of the game, which is that Arsenal are going to have a lot of possession inside the Brentford half, and it's just how Brentford cope with that pressure and the variety that Arsenal are going to try, as Odegaard losing his balance, still manages to find Bukayo Saka, who breaks into the box. Was he brought down there as he tried to get a shot away? I mean, there's certainly a few Arsenal players looking towards the referee, Peter Banks. Raya, in the meantime, makes a save, but we'll see a replay immediately here as Saka gets the ball. Oh, in fact, to forget the foul on Saka, there may have been a handball from Ben Mee in the build-up as well. That's the slight deflection there from Odegaard's pass, but as Saka gets in on goal here, I mean, Rico Henry, there's a bit of contact. I mean, if the referee's going to give a free kick against Brentford for that slight push outside the Arsenal penalty area, you could argue that what Henry did there was even more of a push. But so far we play on. VAR not getting involved. VAR is getting involved, however, at the King Power Stadium between Leicester and Spurs. And that one and only goal we've had in the 3 o'clock kickoffs this afternoon could potentially be chalked off any moment now. We'll confirm whether or not the goal has been given for Spurs. For the time being, Arsenal back in possession here down the left-hand side with Zinchenko. Just going back towards the halfway line here now. Thomas Partey bringing it forward, finding Ben White, right-hand edge of the penalty area. Been blocked off here by Matthias Jensen. Played over towards Bukayo Saka. White in towards Odegaard. Got 3 Brentford players there for company. Odegaard needs someone on the overlap. White has gone there, but Odegaard chooses to ignore that, and then he goes back into midfield here for Gabriel, who plays it into Thomas Partey. He's been closed down. Back to Gabriel again. And there is pass over towards Zinchenko. Out towards Xhaka. Xhaka's ball charged down by Ayer. But Arsenal still able to keep possession here with Oleg Zinchenko. Gets away from Janelt and fires a ball across. Just a little bit too close to David Raya. The idea was right to try and either score or get a deflection, but it was always too close to the goalkeeper.
Yeah, it was always too close to David Raya there. But Alex Zinchenko's just starting to see more and more of the ball, Paul, isn't he? He's the man that's making things happen for Arsenal at the moment. It's weird when your playmaker's your left back, but that's exactly what he is for Arsenal at the moment. Every single thing that's positive from the Gunners is through the Ukrainian. This time he picks the ball up from Granit Xhaka and drives into the box. It's too easy for a Brentford standpoint, and then he fires a ball across the goal. But as you say, it was too close to David Raya when there was Arsenal.
Well, I mean, he has played as a central midfielder for Manchester City in emergency situations, and I always think of him more as a left winger who's learned over a period of time to be a good defender. I don't think defence is his first sort of love, but he's certainly very useful for Arsenal on that left-hand side. I thought he was a very good signing in the summer to get him in from Manchester City. Of course, Arteta would have known him very well from his time as being Guardiola's assistant. Just to confirm that goal for Spurs away at Leicester does stand after a long VAR review. So Spurs do lead away at the King Power Stadium. Meanwhile, here at the Emirates, Arsenal starting to swamp Brentford here with possession, really. Here is Zinchenko down the left-hand side. Switching play now over towards the right for Ben White. He's about 30 yards out from goal. He's got the run of Nketiah, which in fact there was a run from Saka as well into the box, which was closed down by Rico Henry. A loose ball bouncing outside the Brentford penalty area, picked up here by Thomas Partey. And now it's Zinchenko. Going to dance away from Vitaly Janelt, feeds it in towards Martinelli. Martinelli at the edge of the area, trying to get that ball back to Thomas Partey. Ivan Toney doing his best to get in the way, but Arsenal are just not giving Brentford a sniff in these last few minutes. Partey again into Martinelli, who's playing through the middle this time, out to Ben White. Odegaard waits on the right-hand side. Odegaard then finds White on the overlap. He's been closed down by Jensen. Back to Odegaard. Tries a long cross, which is a bit too deep, really. And although Zinchenko heads it towards goal, he may have actually been out of play when he headed it. And even if he wasn't, all he does is head it back to Raya. But again, a good, strong spell of possession from Arsenal, but maybe no end product at the end of it.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what it is, Paul. It's this back five of Brentford. It's so compact at the moment, and Arsenal are struggling to find any sort of real areas of space for the likes of Odegaard, Martinelli, Saka to really manoeuvre in. And at the moment, it's working absolutely brilliantly, this back five. We've seen it deployed against a lot of the big six teams for Brentford, haven't we? They're both Manchester clubs and Liverpool, and they beat all three of those sides this season. It seems to be something that works. I know last week we done the Southampton game and it was a back four, but against the big sort of big six, shall we call them. They're playing the back five, sort of compacting the defensive
They
areas.
are, and we made that point about Zinchenko perhaps not being a natural defender. You look at Henry and Roslev, and they are natural defenders, really. They can get forward, and they're useful in their roles down the right and down the left, but really they're more defenders, and that's what they've got to do today. It's as Brentford win possession back here after, well, Brentford felt as though they deserved a throw down the left-hand side. It wasn't given. Arsenal took the throw, but almost straight away Brentford win possession back. A ball was fed in towards the penalty area, but it's Gabriel that gets the touch, and he puts it out for a corner. It's Brentford's first. Arsenal have had just the one so far in this game. A good chance now for the Bees from this set piece, as Ramsdale has got plenty of tall players to have to worry about. Ben Mee is often very useful in these set piece situations as well. And you look at Brentford, they really have bunched up on that far side of the 6-yard box, just outside the far post, trying to make things difficult here for Arsenal. Jensen steps away from the ball, and it's going to be an outswinger here from Mbeumo towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It's Pinnock with the strike. It deflects away from goal. It's another corner.
Yes, well, poor defending again from Arsenal, has to be said, because Martin Odegaard's marking Ethan Pinnock, and for me that's a mismatch. It happened last week at the Goodison Park. Odegaard was marking Tarkowski. It was more of a zonal approach. Tarkowski hangs off the back of Odegaard, nods it in. Arsenal have got to be a bit more sharper and a bit more smarter with the players that are marking, because your captain, who's 5'10", Martin Odegaard, should not be marking a big, strong centre-half like Ethan Pinnock, because that is a mismatch. Arsenal's last 2 goals they've conceded have both been from set pieces, and probably due to the marking.
It could be down to the marking. This occasion, it's a good header away by Gabriel. Didn't need to be marking anyone this time, just got his head to it. Again, it was an outswinger from Mbeumo. It's cleared up towards the halfway line. David Raya slams a long ball back towards the Arsenal penalty. It was the right idea, but he puts a little bit too much on that. Brentford's captain, Christian Nørgaard, was chasing that one all the way to the line, but he couldn't keep it in play. Thomas Frank beckoning for his players to stay up the field here. I think that's a logical thing to do, because Arsenal very rarely take a long goal kick. There's always a chance you may just win the ball back, as Zinchenko plays a bit of a risky ball, which was almost won back by Mbeumo. And on this occasion, it does go out for a throw, which Mikel Arteta just held on to that ball for a second or two longer, perhaps just to allow his own players to get into some sort of position. Probably just about long enough to let them do that, and not too long to be said that was some sort of gamesmanship. It's played back towards Raya, and again, too much on that one from the Brentford keeper. That one sails all the way through to Aaron Ramsdale. But these little moments where Brentford are just upsetting Arsenal's rhythm, that's what they need to do, because we've already seen a good spell from Arsenal where Brentford have struggled to get the ball. Yeah,
we spoke about Brentford's compact defending, but for Arsenal, it's completely opposite, isn't it? Arsenal are so keen to get forward that when Brentford do win the ball, they're getting 3-on-3s, 4-on-4s, opportunities where there is space for the likes of Mbeumo and Toney to really come forward and hurt Arsenal, and that's probably why Brentford have looked more dangerous going forward. Arsenal have had a lot of the ball, but Brentford have been in the more dangerous positions, but here come Arsenal now.
They do, with Bukayo Saka down the right-hand side. He plays it back towards Ben White, and White rolls it here towards William Saliba. Brentford still setting up with their offside just at the edge of the area, but Odegaard does well. He dances away from Jensen, gets into the penalty area. His ball towards the edge of the 6-yard box is hooked away by Christian Nørgaard, out for a throw to Arsenal down the right-hand side. Leicester City have an equaliser at the King Power Stadium. It's Nampalys Mendy. Don't get many goals from that defensive midfielder, but it's his goal that makes it a 1-1 between Leicester and Spurs. Back here at the Emirates, Arsenal with the throw down the right-hand side. Martinelli just flicks that ball. I think he's actually gone out for a corner kick, because here comes Bukayo Saka. It's very rare that he takes throw-ons for Arsenal, so it is going to be a corner kick down the right-hand side. Likely to be a left-footed in-swinger here from Arsenal's number 7, although Arsenal's number 8 and captain Martin Odegaard is across here as well. They just discussed the best option for this set piece. Brentford with plenty of players inside that penalty. A couple of players waiting at the edge of the box as well, in case they can try and pick off the short corner. It's Mbeumo and Nørgaard who are waiting at the edge of the area. It's going to be Odegaard this time with the corner, and he pings it towards the edge of the area rather than driving it towards the 6-yard box. It's defended well though, and Ivan Toney volleys clear. It's not really a pass to Mbeumo, although he'll still carry on chasing it, but Ramsdale gets there first. We're over the halfway point in this first half. It is still goalless between Arsenal and Brentford, and it will be Ben to take us through to half-time.
Here's Arsenal coming forward with Alexander Zinchenko. He's seen so much of the ball. I feel like being Paul saying his name every couple of seconds at the moment. He's dropped into a central midfield role now, which he often does in Mikel Arteta's system, which allows Granit Xhaka to go over to that left-hand side. As Thomas Partey takes a strike from distance for about 30 yards, and it's wayward and high and wide and poor from the Ghanaian, but I think that's just perhaps frustration that they can't break down this Brentford defence, Paul.
Well, they're probably thinking that they're doing the basics of trying to keep possession, trying to press Brentford when they have the ball, and doing things quickly at the edge of the area just to try and frustrate the visitors. But as you say, Partey, I think, just saw the goal and thought he would try and hit it, but it was an effort that in the end was a long way over the bar, as Thomas Frank just trying to get another message out to his players. He'll know that this is going to be a big test for Brentford. I mean, if they were to come out from this game and still have their unbeaten record in the league, I think they would be absolutely delighted.
Yeah, I think they would be, and I think a point away at the league is a bigger result. But at the moment, Brentford are well in this game and could well come away with all 3 points. As here they come with Ivan Toney. Ivan Toney finds Brian Mbeumo on the left-hand side. It's Gabriel comes across the coast. This is Ivan Toney. He's hit the crossbar, and he really had to score. What an opportunity for Ivan Toney, Brentford's talisman. And you want that one again when we look at it again. It's Ben White and Saliba, real poor work from them. Rico Henry just nips in well. Ivan Toney finds Brian Mbeumo. It's a lovely 1-2 between the two of them. And Mbeumo puts it on a plate for Toney, rolls it across the 6-yard box. Toney's about 10 yards out from goal. All the net to aim at, and he can't hit the target. The ball cannons off the top of the crossbar and out for a goal kick.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Ivan Toney will forgive me for saying, but he really would have been odds on for scoring that one, and it's a disappointing one from him. He's almost like he's trying to score the perfect finish rather than just driving it straight down the middle. And Ramsdale never would have got there. It's almost like he's tried to really nestle that one in the very top corner. Maybe I'm talking him up too much. It may just be that he's miscued it and just missed it. But even though he's hit the bar, you're absolutely right. He's got to score there, really. And Brentford, well, I say Brentford aren't going to get many opportunities. I guess they've had a couple already, but that's certainly another warning for Arsenal.
Another warning for the guys in case they didn't need it, because I mean, Brentford have created some dangerous opportunities. Really think about that Rico Henry chance just a couple of minutes into this match, and then that Ivan Toney one, their gilt-edged opportunity. But we've got a third goal at the King Power Stadium, and Leicester City have turned it around, 2 in quick succession for them, as James Maddison has just scored, and Antonio Conte's Tottenham side would have really thought they're building up some momentum after that Manchester City game, but they're behind at the King Power. There's also a goal at St Mary's, a welcomed one as well, as Southampton lead Wolves by 1-0. Carlos Alcaraz with his first goal there, as Bukayo Saka puts the ball in for Arsenal, hangs up towards the back post. Martinelli wins it, nods it back across. Granit Xhaka heads it down, then Martinelli scuffs across, and I think the Brentford players are trying to claim for a handball. They didn't get it. Bukayo Saka comes again for Arsenal. Saka stands up. Rico Henry can't beat him as Vitaly Yenot comes across. And it's a nice 2-on-1 situation there that Brentford have managed to manufacture, and Ben Mee will win the ball back for them, and now Brentford will play out. But it's just another sign there for Bukayo Saka that he's just getting frustrated, because Brentford are just doubling up on him. We'll get Paul's thoughts on that in a minute, because Ivan Toney has just played a great bit of hold-up play here to get Brian Mbeumo in on the left-hand side. He'll find Rico Henry. Rico Henry to Brian Mbeumo, to Janel. And it's good stuff from Brentford, this. Arsenal, they've got some numbers back, but Rico Henry's turned away from 2, then 3 Arsenal players. But Bukayo Saka gets a toe in to dispossess Brian Mbeumo, and then a hooked clearance up in the air. It's not got a lot of distance on it, but he's got a lot of height on it. But Eddie Nketiah can't make that ball stick. Vitaly Yenot skips past 2 or 3 challenges. Is Peter Banks going to blow up for the foul there? It looked like he was going to. He didn't. Eddie Nketiah does well to win the ball back, and he's brought down by Christian Norgard. But Brentford are doing really well, Paul, just doubling up on the Arsenal wingers, whether it's Janel and Norgard coming across to help the wing-backs, or whether a wing-back and a centre-back are both going across. It's really limiting the time and the space that Saka and Martinelli have, and Arsenal rely so much on their wing play that it's a real sort of tactical display so far from Brentford.
It is. I think you're absolutely right. And from Arsenal's point of view, they've got enough in their 11 already to try and vary up a little bit. I think they've just been allowing potentially Brentford to just upset their rhythm a bit too much. But certainly Arsenal just need a little bit more inventiveness in terms of how they want to try and break down this Brentford side, because even Brentford playing high up the field, this is going to cause Arsenal some problems. But it's back now with Ramsdale as Brentford look to press.
Mario Lemina has been sent off at St Mary's against his former club, of course, for Wolverhampton Wanderers. 2 yellow cards in the opening 28 minutes, so a nightmare return to Southampton for Lemina. Fulham incidentally lead at Nottingham Forest at Craven Cottage by 1-0. That goal was scored by Willian, who's enjoying a brilliant season at Fulham after a very timid one at Arsenal, to say the least. Aaron Ramsdale picks the ball up here after a poor long ball. I think Ivan Toney, the flag was up against him for offside anyway. But 28.5 minutes played at the Emirates. Arsenal 0, Brentford 0, and it's fair to say that the travelling team have had the better chances.
Well, it's still goalless at the Emirates, but both sides have had some decent chances, and Brentford have just struck the bar a few moments ago after a ball is played across from the right-hand side. Ivan Toney's effort crashed into the bar. He should have really hit the target. It was a poor miss from Ivan Toney because he was close to goal. At the other end, Arsenal have had some excellent link-up play, but just perhaps missing that final killer pass to actually test David Raya, but certainly plenty of work for the Brentford defenders in trying to close down Arsenal. Arsenal perhaps just needing a little bit more creativity just to try and break down this Brentford defence, and also perhaps a little bit more resilience, because Brentford are finding the spaces in midfield. It's still 0-0.
And Roslev will pick the ball up here for Brentford on the right-hand side. Roslev finds Norgard. Norgard with a left-footed ball into the box, and Ben White does really well at the back post to head that clear. Arsenal players are fuming with the referee that they've not got a free kick there for potential push on Ben White, but it's really alert defending from the former Brighton defender there just at the back post. Sometimes it's easy for a fullback to switch off, but he's done really well just to get the top of his head on it and glance it behind for another Brentford corner. But at the moment, Brentford are enjoying the better of the possession and the better of the chances, Paul.
They are. They've enjoyed a good little spell here now, and certainly it's been a while since Arsenal have actually been camped out outside the Brentford penalty area to put real pressure on the visitors, and this is a good chance now from the set piece.
It's going to be Mbuemo and Jensen that's behind it, whether it's going to be either of them two, the left foot of Mbuemo or the right foot of Matthias Jensen. We're yet to see. It's going to be the left foot of Brian Mbuemo, outswing corner towards Ethan Pinnock, and it's headed. Oh, I thought it was in, but I think it's blocked on the line by Granit Xhaka. Fabulous header. I think it was Ben Mee. We'll be able to confirm that for you in the replay. And then Mbuemo's cross in was a poor one straight into the gloves of Aaron Ramsdale, who tries to get Arsenal going quickly, but not quite sure that was the right decision, because now Brentford can come again, and Arsenal look like a boxer at the moment. It's just been punched against the ropes, as I think there's a slight head injury here between Ben Mee and Martinelli, and the referee is going to stop play. It probably gives a chance to look at the replay of that opportunity, but the chances keep coming for Brentford.
Well, Brentford aren't happy that play was stopped, but it doesn't really, once the referee spots a facial or a head injury, they're always going to stop play straight away. Ben Mee's unhappy about that, but it may well be, as he might be unhappy about this last chance as well, as it was his header, and it actually might have cannoned off Christopher Ayer. I think it might be a Brentford player stopping a Brentford header there. And it is. It's Raya, although he was being held onto there by Xhaka, so potentially would have been hitting Xhaka anyway, but it's another good chance for Brentford.
Yeah, I think for all intents and purposes, that was probably going to be heading into the back of the net. It was point-blank range. Good connection on the header from Ben Mee, who scored a fabulous header last week against Southampton, Paul, didn't he? Remember we watched that, and it was a brilliant goal. He opened the score in there, of course, just on the stroke of half-time, wasn't it? As a big opportunity goes begging for Brentford there. But when you look at Brentford from set pieces, I did highlight that before the game as a potential way to unlock the Arsenal defence. They've scored 14 goals from set pieces this season, Brentford, and Arsenal, as I mentioned earlier on, have conceded their last 2 goals from corners, so I'm sure Thomas Frank would have been highlighting the importance of the set pieces for the Bees, and he'll be delighted with this opening half hour, won't he?
He will be delighted, although, as I say, as a sort of perfectionist coach that he is, he probably would say that his side should be leading in the game now with the chances that they've had. And he'll be mindful of the fact that Arsenal, although they've shown some strong moments in this game, Arsenal, you have to say that overall they haven't really gotten into their top gear yet, and that's something that Brentford have to be mindful of, that we've still got more to see from Arsenal, I think, in this game.
Yeah, well, if we've not got more to see, then Mikel Arteta is in for a real difficult afternoon.
Yeah, just on the injury as well, just seen the replay, it was actually sort of a bit of an elbow to the face in mid-air that Rico Henry caught Martinelli, but I don't think there was any intent, but certainly Martinelli would have felt that.
Yeah, probably a warranted stoppage of play from Peter Banks, as Brighton have taken the lead in their derby with Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park. It's Estepinian with the goal there, and De Zerbi's high-flying Brighton continue to impress. They're 6th currently in the Premier League at the start of play, and of course Brentford is 7th, 8th as it stands actually, with Fulham winning, but 7th at the start of play, and Brentford will fancy their chance of keeping this 9-match unbeaten run. Well,
the fact that both Fulham and Brentford are ahead of Chelsea in terms of the West London teams in the Premier League is quite unbelievable, really. If that was after 2 or 3 games of the season, you'd say fair enough, but we're well over the halfway point of the season now, and that's still the case. Chelsea, as we mentioned earlier, just still stuttering a little bit and couldn't quite get into the game as the camera focuses on Gabriel Jesus. He's wrapped up very warm, hidden away in one of the VIP boxes there. And to say he's slowly coming back, but it's still a while before we're going to see him on the pitch, isn't it?
Yeah, end of the month is what Mikel Arteta was targeting for Gabriel Jesus. Perhaps the Aston Villa game, that might be a stretch too far. If not, the beginning of next month is when Arsenal fans can expect to see their big money signing from Manchester City back onto the football pitch, as long as Reece Nelson and Emil Smith-Rowe should be back around that sort of time as well. So few injury woes for Arsenal at the moment, but still got a very strong side out here that should be competing.
Well, it just shows you, I mean, if they can rediscover the form they've had for pretty much all of this season, and then those 3 players are still to come, then it will be a very strong end to the season for Arsenal, you would fancy.
You would indeed, as Arsenal are looking to make a strong end to this first half with Alex Zinchenko to Xhaka. This welcome spell of possession for Arsenal will be nice after the last 5-10 minutes, where Brentford have been absolutely phenomenal and really limited anything in the way of attacking opportunities for Arsenal. Bukayo Saka finds Ben White. They link up well to find Thomas Partey. Partey with a loose touch, and Rico Henry can nip back in. Henry's clearance wasn't a very good one, but now Arsenal out of position. It's a real poor out ball from Brian Mbeumo. Potential 3-on-3 then, but Mbeumo's ball out to Jensen was poor. Saliba come up for Arsenal.
Ideally, you'd have Jensen passing to Mbeumo there, then maybe there'd be more chance of Brentford keeping the ball, because it was over hit, and that was a good chance. By the way, the Brighton goal at Selhurst Park has been chalked off for an offside, so it is still goalless there between Palace and Brighton.
Yeah, Patrick Vieira's side during a real rough patch at the moment, the worst since he's become the Crystal Palace manager, and it'd be a relief to them that they've not fallen behind yet at Selhurst Park. Still yet to have a goal in this match at the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal 0, Brentford 0. William Saliba finds Ben White. Ben White, this time is he up to cross? He does. It's a good one towards Eddie Nketiah, really well headed away by Ethan Pinnock. That Brentford back three are dealing really well with crosses into the box at the moment, and Zinchenko gives the ball away, and it's cleared well away by Vitaly Janelt. And then Ivan Toney's brought down by William Saliba and Peter Banks. Thought he was going to issue the first card of the afternoon there, but I don't think he is now. I think Matthias Jensen's claiming that should probably be a yellow card. It was a 2-on-2. It was Mbeumo on Gabriel, and then Saliba on Ivan Toney. A potential chance for a counter-attack, and Saliba was beaten to the ball by Ivan Toney, then brings him down. Probably a yellow card worthy challenge.
I think so. I think he knows what he's doing there, Saliba. It's not a sort of blatant hauling down of Ivan Toney, but he's doing everything he can to make sure Toney doesn't get on the ball. And as I say, I think it looked as though the referee was calling over William Saliba, but it may well be that it was just to say no more of that. I don't think he's shown him a yellow card so far. So you could argue that the Arsenal defender is quite lucky there, really.
It's a real old-school battle at the moment. It's old school feel to it, because Mbeumo and Toney are really pinning Gabriel and Saliba. It's kind of what you had 15 years ago in the Premier League, where it's the two strikers against the two centre-backs, and it's working really effectively actually for Brentford, because Arsenal centre-backs are just struggling to deal with sort of the physicality, I should say, of the two Brentford forwards at the moment. As that long free kick is hooked into the box, cleared away well by Granit Xhaka. Eddie Nketiah tries to keep it alive. He does really well actually to get ahead on that, but then Martinelli gives the ball away poorly, and then Ben Mee will find Ruslev on this right-hand side for Brentford. Ruslev back to Toney. Toney's ball is a poor one. Gabriel's clearance is even worse, and then Ben Mee can bring it down on the left side. Ben Mee looks to fire one across goal. Christian Norgard. Matthias Jensen strike. Wayward one. He loves a goal against Arsenal, doesn't he? He scored two of his three Premier League goals against Arsenal, and probably he wouldn't have expected to score from there, but he would have expected to do it a lot better and perhaps at least make Aaron Ramsdale work.
Well, Odegaard does his bit there, just charging out to try and close down Jensen. That's probably distracted him enough for him to miscue his shot. But Brentford and Arsenal both with 5 shots each, although Brentford have had all their efforts off target so far. Arsenal with 2 on target.
Yeah, that stat doesn't really tell the story of the first half, does it? Because you'd feel like, although Arsenal have had 2 shots on target, Brentford have had the real better of the chances. When you look at the Ben Mee header, the Ivan Toney gilt-edge opportunity on about 10 yards from goal, where he struck the crossbar, and then Rico Henry's miscued effort. These are all opportunities that Brentford should be hitting the target for, if not scoring. But as you say, Arsenal have had 2 shots on target, but have not really created anything worth note. I mean, all I can think about is Gabriel Martinelli's tight-angled shot, which was never really going to trouble David Raya. But here come Arsenal now with a spell of possession, trying to play out from the back, but Brentford again press well. But this time Arsenal have played through the press brilliantly with Thomas Partey. Partey finds Zinchenko. Zinchenko, his pull to Martinelli's a real poor one, and Ruslev can mop that up. And just for a second there, you thought Arsenal could create a first meaningful opportunity. It was a really good sort of passage of play, the way they played out. But again, Brentford have dealt with that well. They've won the ball back. Zinchenko intercepts a pass out for a throw-in. But Arsenal, they're trying to play their football, Paul, aren't they? But Brentford, you mentioned it earlier on, that they're playing a high line, they're pressing into Arsenal, and Arsenal are just struggling to find those passes that they're normally so effective with to play through the press.
They are, and they're also not seeing as much of the ball as I was expecting in this first half. There have been spells, particularly that sort of spell after around 10 minutes, where Arsenal were camped out outside the Brentford penalty area for a good 5 minutes. Brentford struggled to get hold of the ball, but the last 10 minutes, so Brentford really have grown, and here they come again now with Janelt.
And then Janelt finds Ivan Toney, and Ivan Toney straight for the edge of the box. Aaron Ramsdale with a sort of strange save because he didn't dive to the floor, but he kind of just packed his arms in it into the air, and then he gets the rebound as well, courtesy of a header back to him. And again, Ivan Toney, he caught Ramsdale off guard, 'cause I think he saw Ramsdale off his liner, but he struck from about 30 yards out. And now Ramsdale, as I said, it was a strange save, but he's kept the ball out of the net. That's the most important thing. I'm sure the replay will be able to clear up exactly what happened there. But Arsenal at the moment come again with Gabriel Martinelli. Martinelli this time looks to take on Roslev. Again, Roslev sticks to his task. Tackles Martinelli behind and out for an Arsenal throw-in. Martinelli's going to take it, as he leaves it for Alex Zinchenko. But just again, more warning signs that Brentford are there to cause Arsenal some problems. They're not just going to sit back. They want to get at Arsenal. They want to win this football match. And at the moment, they look the more likely, it has to be said, of the 39 minutes of play at the Emirates Stadium. Gabriel has the ball. Now, all of the Arsenal players are, bar Ramsdale, camped in the Brentford half, trying to create something, but all the Brentford players are behind the ball, just really compact in that defensive shape and structure, which is probably why they've kept 4 clean sheets in their last 5 games. Ben White stands the ball up to the back post. Granit Xhaka looks to meet it on his head. He's unable to do so. I think he's just beaten to the ball by... Is that...
It's Roslev, yeah. Roslev just gets his head to it. The taller man was just at the edge of the 6-yard box. The ball just got away from him, and Roslev in the right place at the right time to make sure he can nod that out. But it's a set piece for Arsenal now, which they've taken short.
And Odegaard finds Zinchenko. Zinchenko has Ben White to offer on the edge of the box. A short set piece for Arsenal has not worked really well, is it? But Zinchenko finds a lovely pass there into Odegaard. Odegaard to Martinelli. Martinelli finds Ben White. Ben White thought about a shot from distance, decided against it. Bukayo Saka picks up the ball, looks for an early cross. Again, that crossing angle's not on. Granit Xhaka this time looks for a cross, but his attempted cross blocked by Rico Henry. Bukayo Saka has the ball in his hands for a potential throw. Granit Xhaka says, leave that to me, and he throws the ball back in the way of William Saliba. And Arsenal just being patient in their play. They know they don't need to rush for a goal. It's 0-0. They've still got another half of football, past 5 minutes left of this first half, but again they're struggling just to find any real room to manoeuvre in and any real opportunity to create some space and a scoring opportunity as Partey finds Martinelli, who's dropped deep. Martinelli into the feet of Eddie Nketiah. Nketiah again thinks about a cross, decides against it because he knows the power that Brentford possess in the box. It was a nice ball there from Odegaard across to Ben White. He tried to head it back across to Bukayo Saka, wasn't quite able to do so, and I think Ivan Toney's brought down William Saliba. That's what you call a striker's challenge. Saliba uses his body well and wins a free kick right by this right-hand touchline. But a chance for Arsenal to flood the box, and a chance for Martin Odegaard to put the ball in the box.
Yes, I mean, as I say, you can't fault Tony's endeavour there and his effort to try and win the ball back for his side, but it's a bit of a cheap free kick he's given away there, really, because Arsenal have actually struggled to get good balls into the box in these last 10 minutes or so, but now they've got a real invitation to do it with an in-swinger from the right-hand side from Odegaard.
We're looking for the likes of William Saliba and Gabriel here, but with the height that Brentford possess, and we spoke about how good they are at scoring set pieces. Brentford 14 set pieces that have scored from this season. They've not conceded from an awful lot either, have they? So it's going to be a struggle, you would imagine, for the Bees. But for Arsenal, I should say, as Odegaard puts the ball into the box, headed away really easily by Ivan Toney, just as we suspect. It was a poor ball from Arsenal's captain there, Odegaard, but he'll be looking to get this team going again. Odegaard to Gabriel. Gabriel's picked the ball up in the midfield position, doesn't really want it there, does he? And Gabriel Martinelli will take the ball off him. Back to the Brazilian Gabriel, who looks to square the ball to Alexander Zinchenko. Zinchenko, not a lot of movement. He holds his arms up as if to say, where is the support? Where are the options? He finds a beautiful crossfield ball to Bukayo Saka. Saka to Odegaard. Odegaard has Ben White in a bit of space. This time Ben White's got space to find his cross, find Xhaka at the back post. Xhaka heads it to Martinelli into the box. He's caught that really nicely on his weaker left foot, Martinelli. The closest Arsenal have come to opening the score, and it was a real nice passage of play. Xhaka does really well to find Martinelli, who just peeled off all the Brentford defenders. They're actually ghosting there because Martinelli's got a load of space, about 15 yards from goal, and he's left-footed volley. He was slightly leaning back, which takes it over the bar, but the connection wasn't bad at all.
No, I mean, he's called that beautifully, as I say, just a little bit too high and over the bar, but that would have been a lovely goal from Arsenal's point of view. The ball headed back to him and he caught it really sweetly, just a little bit too much power. But this has been a good little phase now for Arsenal these last few minutes.
Yeah, a bit better from the Gunners as Brentford have just started to slowly drop back into a deeper defensive position. That's just invited Arsenal on a bit more. But here come Brentford now with Ben Mee, and it's flicked on by Ivan Toney. Poor play there from Brentford. Have gifted possession of the ball back to Arsenal, who look to get going again. 43.5 minutes played at the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal 0, Brentford 0. 90 seconds away from finding out how long will be added on by the fourth official. There's not been too many stoppages. We had that Martinelli head injury, so perhaps a minute or two, but it's been quite a free-flowing first half. It's been an entertaining first half, just not the goal to show for it so far, as Arsenal look to get that goal now with Martinelli. Martinelli looks for Eddie Nketiah. It's cleared away easily by Christian Norgard towards Brian Mbeumo. Can he bring that ball down? He can, but he's dispossessed by Granit Xhaka, and Arsenal will get going again. But it's been an entertaining first half, Paul, wasn't it? Just haven't had that goal yet.
It has been, yeah. I think both sides would look to spells in this first half where they've looked like they should have scored. Brentford have had a couple of good chances. Arsenal, just on the balance of the possession and the balls in and around the box, they would have felt they should have done a bit more to test David Raya. And here they come again now with Nketiah and Saka at the edge of the area.
And Saka finds Nketiah. Saka into Ødegaard. Ødegaard does well to keep that ball under control as Ben White, but he finds Nketiah's feet. Nketiah just looks to roll his man as he does so often, and then chip a ball in, but it was a real poor ball. He was off balance. He couldn't quite get any of his foot round the ball to whip in a dangerous ball with any pace and power, and it was easy for David Raya to come out and claim straight into the Spaniard's arms, and that might be the last bit of action we have of this first half as we're approaching the 45th minute mark. David Raya's long drop kick forward. It's under no pressure there, Granit Xhaka, but I don't think he got a shout because he took the ball in the air, and then Eddie Nketiah brings down Ben Mee as Ben Mee went up for a header. It looked painful landing there for Ben Mee on his hip, and that's currently what he's holding, so he might have a little stoppage in play just before the break. Just to run you through the other scorelines in the Premier League so far. West Ham got a well-earned point against Chelsea. Chelsea were the better team for the majority of that game, but West Ham levelled through the former Chelsea man Everton and just kept Chelsea at bay, and they were almost unlucky, very unlucky actually, to have a goal disallowed in injury time. But for Thomas Souček, Crystal Palace 0, Brighton 0 at Selhurst Park. Brighton have had a goal disallowed there through Estepinian. Fulham lead at Craven Cottage. Goal scored there by Willian. They lead Nottingham Forest by a goal to 0. Leicester have turned it round against Tottenham. They went behind thanks to Rodrigo Bentancur's opening for Antonio Conte's side, but Mendy, a rare goal for him, and then James Maddison back on the score sheet for Leicester to give them the lead. Southampton lead at Wolves, who are down to 10 men, courtesy of Mario Lemina's second yellow card after 28 minutes. It might be a long evening there for Julian Lopetegui's side, but the game you're listening to on this coverage right here is Arsenal 0, Brentford 0, as 2 minutes was added on by the fourth official. A minute left of that as Brentford looked to put the ball into the box courtesy of a long throw-in, and if I remember the start of last season, they hurt Arsenal with, it's a new look Arsenal, yes, but they hurt Arsenal at the Brentford Community Stadium, didn't they, with a long throw-in into the box, and that's when they beat Arsenal on their return to the Premier League by 2-0. Arsenal looks to counter-attack from that throw-in here with Eddie Nketiah, who had Martinelli ahead of him but decided to not play the Brazilian, and perhaps that was the right ball, and in the end he is outworked by Roslev, but it will force an Arsenal throw-in in a dangerous position, but around about 30 seconds left of his half. Arsenal going to have to be quick if they are to break the deadlock. Granit Xhaka to Zinchenko. Back to the Switzerland international. Xhaka, who finds his midfield partner Thomas Partey, plays a square ball over to the right-hand side to Ben White. Ben White, opportunity to put the ball into the box. This time it's a better ball from Ben White. It met the head of Eddie Nketiah, but it was blocked by Ethan Pinnock and then cleared away well by Ben Mee. Again, Saliba and Toney are tangled in. This time referee Peter Banks says nothing doing. Arsenal look to come again with the final opportunity of the half. Gabriel to Zinchenko. Zinchenko looks to put the ball into the box. Blocked again by Roslev and by Vitaly Yanel. Zinchenko. Martinelli. Has to put the ball in the box now because the referee's going to blow the whistle any second now. Ben White will win the header to Ødegaard. I think this will be the last action of the half. So Ødegaard's got to move quick. Ødegaard with Rico Henry 1-on-1. Ødegaard finds Bukayo Saka. Can Saka get a shot away? He can. It was heading goalwards, but Ben Mee heads it away well. And then Thomas Partey just eases Brian Mbeumo off the ball. And Mbeumo wins a header away. And the half-time whistle was blown at the Emirates Stadium. Has been chances for both teams. Rico Henry had a brilliant chance in the first couple of minutes. And then Ivan Toney shot the crossbar with a gilt-edge opportunity. He probably should have given Brentford the lead. As for Arsenal, Gabriel Martinelli had their best chance, striking a sweet volley just over the crossbar. Still goalless at the Emirates. Arsenal 0, Brentford 0.